Hi, I'm Ian Caso, publisher of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and this is Winning-stl, a video series about how St. Louis can best compete and win in the battle for talent, jobs, growth, and equity. Winning-stl is sponsored by the Hartford Small Business Insurance, and we're at the train shed at St. Louis's Union Station in the midst of the St. Louis Aquarium, the Wheel, and more. Today, I'm speaking with Chris Zimmerman, President and CEO of Business Operations for the St. Louis Blues. He oversees all aspects of the Blues business operations and the Blues' role and interest in Stiefel Theater. Chris, thank you so much for coming. An absolute pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. From the first time I saw these segments, I was like, hey, let me in. Really fun stuff. So looking forward to it.
Well, thank you. And I think Winning-stl is an appropriate name for what we're trying to do here, but I can't think of a more strong connection than sports and probably hockey. I know I've been struck since I've lived here by this really unique connection between the Blues and the fans in this region. And I know part of that's hockey, but I think it's more than just hockey fans. What's your take on why there's such a unique connection?
Well, I think some of it is the power of sports to help unify a city and a region is a really powerful thing. The St. Louis Blues were born here, right? In 1967, the first year that the Blues as an expansion team entered the NHL, playing at the old arena, the team really sort of took off, and the community, which I would say at the time, there was only one ice rink in St. Louis.
Really?
St. Louis wasn't inherently a hockey town, and yet the community almost immediately adopted the team. A team born here, a team of success, a new exciting sport. All of those things, I think, came together sort of from day one. It matters because people have helped us create a successful organization. We want to help make St. Louis, in our little corner, as good as it can be.
Chris, I know you spent a lot of time and a lot of effort on the upgrades and renovations to the Enterprise Center. And I know that's been really important for the club. So maybe I'd like to hear from your perspective why you think it's important, and maybe not just for the Blues, how you see that playing for St. Louis in the future.
Yeah, it was, it's funny because when I came here, I'd worked only for one other NHL team up in Vancouver, and I really hadn't thought that much about where the building was in its life cycle. When I started to focus on that, I realized that a building that had opened 20 years earlier and hadn't had probably the reinvestment
Sure.
and some of the love that is needed to stay competitive, really, it was a big task that we needed to take on. And I think as much as it's about the Blues, it was always about the work we do with the St. Louis Sports Commission. Mm-hmm. And the St. Louis Sports Commission is an incredible asset to this community. The work that they do to attract really their world-class events that every city in the country wants to compete for. And so much of the renovations was about how do we stay competitive? And so that work, which took 4 or 5 years, it's really been a critical piece to really what we do, both in terms of hockey, but also in terms of all the other entertainment and sports content that we want to bring here.
And Chris, I'm part of the Sports Commission too, and we both go to the meetings, and what we hear is we know when we get an event in St. Louis, people show up, and it's always a great experience. But if you don't have the facilities, you're not even in the conversation. You don't get a chance to do that. And those are the events that fill hotels, that fill restaurants, and all of us who live here want this region and downtown specifically to be as good as it can be. And you need people and economic activity, and it seems like that's been a pretty big part of it.
Yes, we as a city know if we can get the events, if we can make sure that we've got the facilities, sports will play a vital part in really strengthening and energizing our entire region.
And Chris, what I notice, or at least what I think I notice, is that there's a lot of support amongst the different, organizations here, from the Cardinals and the Blues, obviously, and now St. Louis City. Feels like there's a real mutual admiration society.
Well, I can tell you, when I got here and I looked down the street at the Cardinals brand, we were very intentional about building that relationship and then continuing really to nurture it. And it's the same thing with City. I think it's really the same thing with the events as well. We just fundamentally believe that any success of any of these other teams and these facilities and these big events makes us all stronger. And so, yeah, we love it. One of my favorite individual moments here in St. Louis that I think really speaks to that, it was the night that the Rams, I guess officially the vote had taken place at the NFL meetings, and that the Rams were leaving town. And that night we had Bill DeWitt come out on the ice. He actually had on his Blues jacket, and Tom Stillman, our chairman, come out in a Cardinal jacket and drop the puck.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was just one of those moments about, we don't have to apologize to anyone. No. This is a great sports town. Our fans keep proving it. And, that night, that was just a moment.
That's a great recall, because I think that really did. I mean, the whole experience hit a nerve, and then to see these two kind of iconic institutions come together and say, actually, no, we're good, and our fans are good, and this region's good, and we care about it.
Well, and even what's happened with the Battlehawks and the response there. Sports is a unifying force. And really, sometimes I think it's just people that, here's something where we can stand up and say, we are so proud to be from St. Louis, and look at us, and we get to show it through the lens of sports.
Chris, I want to thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. Appreciate you coming down, and let's go Blues.
Yeah, let's go Blues, and let's go St. Louis. Let's keep pushing forward.